Hey everyone, Stacks here. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I'm going to check out Marauders number 9, but because on the channel I didn't do Marauders 7 and 8, I'm going to kind of do a quick jump back, go through that in fast forward style, get you caught up, and then we'll go through Marauders number 9. How's that sound? Good? You good with that? Because that's what we're going to do. Okay, so Marauders number 7. You don't have to read it because nothing of significance happens other than the fact that you find out that Lockheed has survived. So on to issue 8. Issue 8 was a bit more of a heavy hitter because it's the issue where they found out that Kitty Pryde was dead. Bishop went to investigate. He finds her body. When he finds out, Emma Frost is reading him, hears it in her head, and she breaks down. Bishop recovers the body, of course, and when he does, he notices the fauna, the vine that was wrapped around her leg, and he actually takes a sample of it. So he has evidence now that whoever killed her has Krakoan ties. Oh, and Iceman finally did something. He bust up in one of the ships that was related to these guys from Madripoor, and he absolutely just takes them down to below whatever, freezing their tails off. Then walks around snapping off their limbs. Now, remember that they didn't actually kill Kitty Pryde, so, you know, that whole mutant justice thing's working out well again. It was nice finally to see Bobby Drake do something other than get depowered and shot at during this series. I'll admit that. Oh, did I mention that Storm smacked the taste out of Emma's mouth? Yeah, that happened. But then they hugged it out, and Emma showed her the way she felt when Cyclops was reintroduced after the attack on the Orcus facility. You know, when they all died back in House of X and Powers of X and were resurrected the first time, and it was a big deal. Yeah, well, when that happened, it made Emma feel hope or something. There you go. See, that wasn't so bad, and now we're all caught up. So we can dive right in to Marauders number 9. Gerry Duggan's still writing. You got Matteo Lolli on art for this one, and Edgar Delgado. And I'll tell you, the art on Marauders has been good. You cannot complain at all about the art teams that we've had for Marauders because they've been drawn really well. And I'll say up front that I really enjoyed this book. This one, as far as Marauders issues, is definitely one of the better ones. All right, so let's get into this thing. But first, make sure you hit that subscribe button because it lets me know you care. Alright, so the book begins with the arrival of the Marauders to Krakoa, and it focuses in on Pyro just walking up, and you have a butler, you know, getting him a drink, and he looks out when somebody tells him, you know, hey, welcome back, Pyro, and it's Jean Grey laying on the hood of a Trans Am. And then those two lock lips. They hop in the car, and they drive off into the sunset listening to Freebird, and you're like, what just happened? From there we jump to what looks like a cheap theater where Emma's got these fake mannequins dressed like Jean and Pyro in a cheap cardboard cutout of a car, and Bishop walks in and is like, what the heck is going on here? And what we find out is that when she went down to go meet the Marauders when they arrived, she heard the thoughts of a stowaway, and she just asked Bishop, hey, meet me down below at the cove here in a few minutes. So they do. They go meet up later, and of course at this point they figured out that YellowJacket is running around inside of Pyro, all miniaturized, and Emma is just running, you know, interference basically to keep him from, you know, finding out that they're onto him. Well, that's when Bishop and Emma, who are having this telepathic conversation, that's when he tells her, look, I got an idea, and she agrees. It's pretty clever. YellowJacket's still hanging out in the sub. You know, he's thinking that Jean Grey and Pyro are, you know, driving along the hillside of Krakoa or whatever, when suddenly Jean Grey is no longer on the monitor, and he can hear Pyro saying, don't tell me to calm down, Bishop. Do you know what it's like to have some little dude swimming around inside you? And YellowJacket freaks out. He's like, I'm burned. So he goes and hits the enlarge button and just, you know, blows up to full size. He's still in Pyro. Well, Pyro ends up all over everybody because he just gets splattered all over the place. And now Emma is ticked. She's sitting there covered in blood and, well, covered in Pyro. She holds her hand to her head, tells YellowJacket to get out. He's getting out, says, cannons, go weapons free, shoots Emma right in the face, and he's like, oh man, I didn't mean to shoot her in the head. Reaches down, hits the button, shrink, drops down into the water. Bishop's shooting at him. He's trying to get away, but he goes full-blown sub. He's down there swimming with the fish, and he's out of there. And at that point, he's cheering himself on. He's like, hey, I am, we had to bug out. I got discovered. I'm on my way back to Madripoor. But it's okay because there's nothing but clear sailing ahead. Well, so that's what YellowJacket thinks. Well, in reality, all that just happened in his head. And you have the Cuckoos here now. They're sitting there telling Emma that YellowJacket believes he's out in international waters. His adrenaline's dropping down now. He's feeling tired. He's just chilling. You're good. Well, in addition to the Cuckoos, they've also brought Magneto to the party. And Magneto just, when it's time to evict YellowJacket, reaches out and just pulls him right out of Pyro's windpipe. And Pyro just sits there and coughs him up. YellowJacket at this point thinks he's hit the autopilot and he's getting some Z's on his way to Madripoor, when in fact, he's sitting there and Magneto's got him in his hand. They finish wiping his memory, finding out everything he knows, and they send him on his way. Now, Bishop does mention, look, he would have been caught as soon as one of our EMPs hit it, like they do every evening. And Magneto says, yeah, that's true, but maybe there's a way we can, use our telepaths in a passive defensive way in order to keep this from happening again. And I actually really like this because they found it a problem. They found it, and now they're addressing it immediately. Like, look, we found a gap in our defenses. We better plug the hole, and we better plug the hole fast. Not only that, Emma takes the opportunity to send a message to Verendi. What she does is she ends up grabbing Pyro and say, you know what? Help me send a message. Let me introduce you to who did this. And she, telepathically sends their image to and come out of the darkness there with Verendi. And this really menacing look, especially with the blackface that Pyro is sporting. But he steps out of the shadows into this candlelight and tells him, you've humiliated me in front of my friends, and really, I don't have a lot of friends. I guess that's why when I was your age, I played with fire. And he just takes the flame from the candles and just dances it across all of the members there of Verendi, and then him and Emma both just disappear. And Pyro's disappointed because he wanted to play for a little while, but Emma tells him, look, their pain was real. I don't have time to play games right now. I got pressing matters to attend to. And she goes and immediately goes to visit Professor X and the Five. And as Emma walks in, she asks the question again, and you look around and you can see that the Five all look like they have this defeated look on their face. And Charles just tells her, yes, for whatever reason, these husks, it's not viable either. We're going to take a break and we're going to try again in the morning. And Emma kind of has this panicked look on her face. She's like, look, can I talk to the Five? I just don't understand what the problem is. And Charles puts his hands on her shoulder and looks at her in the eye, right with his big cerebro, and says, look, neither do we. We don't understand what's going on here. From there, we go back to Lockheed. And Lockheed, he's recovered. He's been getting better. Last issue, he's been showing marked improvement every issue. Well, he goes up, goes out the window, goes and catches the girl who's been caring for him, a fish, drops it off, pulls the blanket over her, and then takes off for Krakoa. Now, the reason that Lockheed's going to be important is he was there. He saw Sebastian Shaw attack Kitty Pryde and what led up to her death. So that could probably be used as evidence against Sebastian Shaw. The question is, can you do anything to him for this? Because, it's, kill no human, but Kitty Pryde wasn't a human. It was believed that she was a mutant, and that's why, she's been an Xmen this whole time, and why she was brought to Krakoa, and now it doesn't explain why we had all these issues where she couldn't use the gates, and she, for whatever reason, it appears that the resurrection protocols aren't working on her. But from Sebastian Shaw's standpoint, if he did kill her, he can argue look, it's kill no human, and you cannot tell me that she was human. I mean, even if she was a human, why wouldn't the resurrection protocols work? There's nothing in the resurrection protocols that's tied to the X gene within the egg. If Charles Xavier wanted to resurrect a human, all they would have to do is get the genetic code for that individual, insert it into an egg, Charles do the Cerebro thing and pry into their mind and download a copy, and then once the egg's ready, you just stick it in that husk that's now a human. It just doesn't have the X gene. It can be done. I'm rambling here, but that one's been really bugging me ever since the whole Kitty Pryde death thing, and they kind of let up that for some reason the resurrection protocols weren't going to work on her. So it's the only other character I could think of that they had a problem cloning was Thor. But even Thor, they managed to create the knockoff Thor that was, you know, Ragnarok, which was during the Civil War. And I think he was part of the Dark Avengers. I mean, he wasn't anywhere near Thor level, and he ended up getting, you know, knocked in the head by Hercules, and, you know, he was done for then. But I mean, still, that's the only other one I could really think of where there was an issue with the cloning process. Sorry, here's another thought. What if the only way that they can bring Kitty back is to combine her genetic material with somebody else? That way she officially becomes the first authorized Chimera there from Mr. Sinister. I know I'm speculating a lot. Let me get back to the review of this. Overall, I really like this book definitely as far as Marauder books went. I really like the tricks, them playing with YellowJacket and him having that freak out moment that's really only going on in his head, but just kind of the what if scenario. Now, I will say that as far as a payoff for what I thought I was going to get out of, you know, YellowJacket, I thought that could be sustained somehow. You think they would have maybe thought that, yeah, there's going to be a bunch of telepaths on that island, so we probably need to give him a helmet with some kind of telepathic shielding. They didn't, and as a result, their long-term plan to get a bunch of money by selling information that they got while the Marauders were, you know, hanging out on Krakoa isn't going to work. Now, the EMP thing would have shot them down anyways, but the telepath thing got to him even quicker. So, you know, they didn't know about the EMP part. And following this event, they still don't know that. So if they manage to get another one on the island and pass the telepaths, the EMP would still end up getting them. So it's good to see that Bishop's on the case as far as dealing with the murder of Kitty Pryde. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with Sebastian Shaw. But anyways, guys, overall, definitely a recommend. I'm trying to figure out Gerry Duggan's pace, because you guys know I haven't liked all the Marauders issues. I think it was 2 or 3 was really bad. I don't remember which one it was right off the top of my head. And 7, I didn't like it at all. So I'm going to say that his pace is kind of like this, you know, we get a good issue, but then we have about 2 that are boring, and you have one really bad one that makes me want to drop it from my pull list. But I mean, this was a good issue, and I'm hoping it's on an uptick. I hope he can sustain a high level, because I mean, I don't like reviewing bad books, I don't like reading bad books, and I really want this to be a sustained good title. Anyways, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment down below, and of course, head over to my Fantastic Four X-Men videos, and make sure you're registered to win that complete series. Chip Zdarsky writing, it's been one of my favorites of the Dawn of X title so far. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. I sincerely appreciate you guys. I haven't done enough of that. Thanking you guys for all the growth that I've experienced on this channel lately, guys. I can't do it without you. Thank you to my comment section, everyone that comments down there, guys. I really appreciate you, especially when I miss something and you guys help me out or help me get straight on something that I may have missed. Guys, I appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great week coming up. Real Comic Stacks, out.